Magic TV, my name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a review show special. And this week we're going to be talking about Keymaster by myself and Penguin Magic. A lot of people have been asking lots of different questions about Keymaster. It got launched at Magic Live. It's now available through Penguin, and it's been wholesaled to a few different dealers as well. So it's now in circulation. A lot of people have got it. And there's a lot of questions about it. So I'm going to answer all the questions on this week's review show special. So, Keymaster, first of all, I think we need to address the many questions that have come up on the Magic Cafe, which is what's the difference between the various different versions of Keymaster and what reflection do they have compared to something like Holy Moly by Jay Sankey or Key Deposit by Jay Sankey. So let's get into this first of all. So I released the original Keymaster in 2009, I believe it was. However, I'd been working on it for about 2 years before that. So I was working on it from about 2007, came out in 2009. The keys were okay. Yeah, they looked key-like. We weren't able to get keys custom designed. So what we had to do is go to a key cutters, and they actually had to fill the holes in on the keys. So it's not like they drilled holes in blank keys. They made blank keys out of keys that already had holes in it, which was a bit counterproductive, but at the time it was the only way we could do it. And when Keymaster came out, the obvious, what's the word I'm looking for? Inspiration for that was Holy Moly, because Holy Moly by Jay Sankey was a great trick, but it used washers. And I was kind of like, there's this one phase where the hole jumps from here to here, which is really cool. But what about if we put it on a key? That would make it more organic. And I started off by just playing around with 2 keys and just having a blank key and having one with 2 holes in it. And then I was like, okay, that's really cool. But because we've got a stem, it allows me to put a hole in the stem. And I can vanish the hole off the key and they won't even realize there's a hole on the stem. And then that allowed me to do the first phase, but then it allowed me to do a kickback into the hand and have the hole on the stem. And that couldn't be done if the hole was going back on the head, because what spectators tend to do when you put the hole in, when you put the key in their hand, they anticipate that you're going to do that, so they feel the head. They never feel the stem. They just feel the head. So they don't feel like there's anything there, and it creates an impossible object. They don't see it coming, and then when they open up their hand, the hole's on the stem, and it's incredible. There were a couple of problems with the keys. They weren't amazingly, they were okay. They were good. They served the purpose, but they weren't as key-like as I would have liked. The hole was slightly too far up the stem. It was more in the middle. And then the biggest problem was the keys were a bit too big. Now, I've got big hands, and that wasn't a problem for me, but for a lot of people, the feedback that I got was that they should have been a bit smaller. Okay, so that was the original Keymaster, inspired by Holy Moly. Now, after Keymaster came out, I then became aware, and I wasn't aware beforehand, of Key Deposit by Jay Sankey. And Key Deposit is a version of Holy Moly with keys, but what Jay does is he's got a key with 2 holes, and he's got a key fob, a metal disc. He calls it a key fob. It's more of a washer, but he calls it a key fob. It doesn't really look like a key fob. And the whole idea is that you take the key off, you give them the key, a bit like Keymaster, but then Holy Moly style, you pull the hole off the key fob, and it's on the key. And a lot of people have said, hang on, isn't this just a version of Key Deposits? And the answer is no. And it came, we never had an issue with that when it came out. So I remember Jim Traynor speaking to Jay at the time or something, I don't know. We never had a problem with it, because you can see where the creative leap is. Even though I wasn't aware of Key Deposit, you can see where it's been extended to. By using 2 keys and having a hole on the key, it allows you to have that really cool second phase without actually switching anything in. It means that you don't have to have a key fob. But the other thing it does is it means that you can actually use spellbound type routines to move holes down the stem of the key. And there's a routine on the original Keymaster called Gatekeeper, where the hole comes down to the stem of the key and then comes off the key, and then you throw it back on in midair. And that was only possible because the hole on the stem. It means that you can do visual moving hole style effects, right? So that's covering that. Then a couple of years afterwards, I think it was about 2012, we brought out Keymaster Reloaded. Now, Keymaster Reloaded was an expansion pack for the original Keymaster. Keymaster came with 3 keys: a normal hole, a normal key, a key with 2 holes, and a key with a hole on the stem. Keymaster Reloaded introduced new keys, and it was based on the Chinatown half principle. So when Keymaster Reloaded, you had like a Chinatown half, and you had to get a piece of magazine cutting that was about the same color of your skin, put it in, and the whole idea is that when you have the key on your hand, it looks like there's a hole there, but you can just close your hand and open it, and the hole vanishes, like the original Chinatown half, which was a really nice idea, and I was so happy when I came up with it. In hindsight, looking back, it didn't really add much to the Keymaster plot. All I was doing with it is making it more visual when the hole vanishes. But in order to achieve that, I was using keys that were unexaminable, right? And the beauty of the original Keymaster is everything's examinable at every point in the way. So although I'm happy it came out and there were a couple of nice ideas on there, I don't think it added much to the Keymaster legacy. Then in 2015, you had Keymaster Chrome. Now I had nothing to do with that. This is when I was taking my break from the Magic community. This is when I'd moved away from the Magic community. I was focusing on running my business, and I didn't really keep up to date with anything that was going on in Magic. I hadn't been on the Magic Cafe for years, and it came to my attention that Keymaster Chrome was coming out, and I remember contacting John Farr at the time and saying, "What's this?" And he said, "Hey, we'll send you one." And I never got one. They said they were going to send me a bunch, but it doesn't matter. I ended up getting one from Penguin, I think I bought it from Penguin. I ended up buying one just so I could see what the fuss was about. And basically, it was a re-release of Keymaster with Chrome keys instead of normal keys. And the Chrome keys were nicer, for sure, than the original keys. But there was nothing else added to the project. It wasn't like they added any extra routines or anything like that. They took the original Keymaster and they made it, they basically just put the same routine out, Keymaster, but with silver keys, right? And as I say, I had nothing to do with that. No input into that project at all. That was just bought out. My name was put on it, but I had nothing to do with it. So then, when I was coming back into the Magic community, I was speaking to Penguin, and they actually bought up Keymaster. In actual fact, 4 different production companies bought up Keymaster, but the company that kind of got there first was Penguin. And I said to them, yes, I will bring it out, but only if I can add value. I've been working on this plot for about 10 years. And that's the thing that, I'm bringing stuff out at the moment. I realized that I've brought out a trick every single month this year. In January, I brought out Playlist. In February, I brought out the Quantum Deck. In March, I bought out Chop, I think. In April, I bought out Forecast. And in May, I've bought out Keymaster. So I brought out a trick every single month. And it's kind of like, oh my gosh, he's creating a lot of magic. Well, yes, in one respect. But in the other respect, what you need to remember is in the almost decade, but not quite a decade, it felt like a decade, but it wasn't. I think it was about 8 years. In 7 or 8 years that I was gone from the Magic community, I was still creating because I love creating magic. That's what I do for fun. I just sit there and I tinker. I'm a tinkerer. I love creating magic. And I make meticulous notes on everything. If you saw my office, I've got files of stuff, half drawn out ideas and a whole bunch of different stuff. So the stuff that I'm bringing out now, like Gossip, for example, which was my first release back, that was like, I remember coming up with that concept in about 2010. So I'm just going back through my back catalogue and looking for stuff that I think now let's actually do something with that, right? So I don't even know why I made that point. I don't know. So yes. So I said to Penguin, I've been working on this plot for the last 10 years. Since the original Keymaster came out, I've been working on ideas with it. I've got a whole bunch of ideas that I've not shared with anybody. I do them in my own gigs, but that's it. If we're going to do this, there's a few things that I want to do, and I want to make sure that it's done this way. And they said yes. They've been wonderful to deal with. So let me go through why I think that this iteration of Keymaster is the best version of Keymaster that there is out there. So first of all, there's 4 keys. So you've got the original single hole key, you've got the 2-hole key, you've got the hole on the stem. That's the original Keymaster. You've also got a complete key blank. So it's a complete blank key with no holes in it at all, which are very difficult to have made. The reason why really no other version of Keymaster has had a key blank, and I think we did put one in Keymaster Reloaded, but that was a very limited release. The reason why is because it's very difficult to get blank keys, right? I mean, Penguin had to get millions of keys, and it doesn't really matter, but it's very difficult to get a blank key. And I've had people say to me, I'd really like a blank key. I'd really like a blank key. It'd be really good if there was a blank key with this set. And I totally agree, because some of the new routines that I'm doing use a blank key, right? So you've got that blank key, which allows you to do access to all of the routines. So you've got 4 keys. The second thing is the keys are smaller. Anyone who's got the original Keymaster and you look at the keys that come with Penguin, you'll see that they're smaller and slightly thinner, which makes the handling a lot easier. Even Ryan can do it. He's got very small hands. The other thing that's new about the keys is the holes are slightly smaller, which makes things a lot easier, and I talk about that why on the project. And the other thing is they look more like keys. They look really good, and they are cut. They're not cut, they're blank. Now, there's a reason why I went with blank keys. And the reason is, and I mentioned this in the Q&A earlier today, first of all, I prefer using blank keys. I've always used key blanks. If you actually see any performances of me performing Keymaster throughout the years, you'll see that I always use blank keys. And the reason is, from a presentational point of view, I really like the presentation because it allows me to have an interesting hook, because nobody ever notices that the keys aren't cut. It's not something that anybody notices for some reason. So my opening presentation is, I've got a couple of keys here. It's the 2 key trick. Can you have a look at that key for me and tell me, do you see anything weird about it? Do you see anything weird at all? And they go, no. And you go, did you notice it's not being cut? These are what keys look like before they've been cut. You get these from key cutters. It's called a key blank. But you didn't notice that, even though you were looking at the key, and I told you to look to see if there was anything weird going on about it. So, you know, in magic, things hide in plain sight. It's a little bit like that trick, not that trick, it's a little bit like that video or that picture that went around Facebook a couple of years ago where you've got a brick wall and a cigar, and until you see that cigar you can't see it, but when you see it you can't unsee it. It's the same thing. You're always going to notice that those keys aren't cut now, but you only notice it because I've pointed it out to you. And from a presentational point of view, I love that hook of hiding in plain sight and so on and so forth. So I've always used blank keys. However, the original reason why we had blank keys made with Keymaster is because it allows you to have the keys cut to your own house key. Now, I've seen people say on the Magic Cafe in the past, in years gone by, oh, the reason they're blank keys is because it cuts the cost. It makes no difference to the cost whatsoever. I just love blank keys because if you supply the keys cut, you can't uncut them. You're done. You've got to have them as cut keys, right? There's no other option. However, if you have them as uncut, you can make the decision. Now, will everybody's house key work with Keymaster? No. Probably 90% of house keys will. We tested a whole bunch of them. And if you look at the Keymaster key, you'll see the hole is slightly being cut off center so that most house keys will work with it. Some house keys won't. It's like a snowflake, right? Every house key is different. Some house keys won't work with it. And we mentioned that on the project. So you'll know if it doesn't work with it. You can compare your key to the Keymaster key and you'll know. If it doesn't work with it and you still want cut keys, that's not a problem. If you go to any key cutters and you say, look, I'm a magician, I've got a trick that uses these keys, I want to have them cut, I don't care what they're cut to, but I want each one of them the same and I don't want that hole interfered with, they will just literally take a key and they'll be able to do that for you in seconds. And they won't charge you for that, or they shouldn't charge you for that really, because you're supplying the keys. They might charge you a couple of bucks or a couple of quid for their time, depends on the key cutter you go to, but they'll be able to do that very easily and they're not using any of their stock. They'll just go, that was me doing an impression of a key cutting machine, by the way. And yeah, so that's why they've been supplied uncut. They've been supplied uncut because I prefer using them uncut, but most people will be able to have their house key cut to it. And even if you haven't, if you want to have them cut, it's a simple process of having them cut. It gives you options. If we supply them cut, you literally have no options in front of you. So that's the other thing that they've got going for them. And then the final thing that I think makes this Keymaster ever so special are the routines on there. So there's a bunch of routines. I haven't seen the final cut of the trailer of the tutorial yet, so I don't know how long it is. I believe it's like 2 or 3 hours. But there's multiple routines on there that I have been doing over the last decade that I'm finally showing to you for the first time. So yes, you've got the original Keymaster routine. Yes, you've got the original Gatekeeper routine, for sure. But then there's a whole bunch of stuff on there as well. So I talk about combining Keymaster with playing cards. I talk about combining Keymaster with business cards. I talk about combining Keymaster with coins. I talk about combining Keymaster in a whole bunch of different ways. And there's some beautiful routines on there. There really are. Couple of examples. So there's a really nice coin routine that I just love performing. You have a coin and you have a key. right? And you just take this key and you take the coin and you say you're going to make them change places. And that's what happens. The key and the coin change places. Really fair, and it looks great because the key looks completely different to the coin. Okay, and yet the coin and the key change places. And you do that like 2 or 3 times. Coin and key change places, coin and key change places. For the final phase, you give someone the coin to hold on to, you give someone the key to hold on to. They hold on to the coin and the key, and you say you're going to make them change places one more time. And when they open up their hands, they haven't changed places, but the hole has. Now, there's no hole on the key, but the coin has a hole on it, which is just really, really weird. And it's such an incredible moment, and everything's examinable and instantly reset. There's a really cool thing with a business card on there, where you take a business card and you draw a picture of a key on there, and you have it signed. And you take a hole punch, and you hole punch genuinely through the signed card. And they can see it's really through there. You can show it. There's no ambiguity at all. They see it. Signed, hole through it. You then give it them to hold on to. You then take the key and you rub the hole down to the stem of the key. So you just take the key and you move the hole down to the stem. And you give it them. And then when you give it them, they examine it. And then when they look back at the card they've been holding, now the hole was moved down to the stem on their signed business card, which is just killing them. There's no out to lunch or anything like that. Looks great. And by the way, when I talk about moving the hole down the stem, one other improvement is the hole has been moved further down slightly. So it's now not in the middle, it's now further down, which allows even cleaner displays, which you've never had before. That was a really important point to me when Keymaster came out. What else? Okay, so there's a stack of stuff on there, an absolute stack of stuff on there. There's a routine with a ring, with a key and a string, and it's in the trailer. There's a clip of it for about like 5 seconds or something, and there's a couple of people that have said on the cafe, "Oh, this is obviously just Leaving Home by Jay Sankey," because Jay Sankey has done a trick with a key on a string, and so people automatically assume that it's the same thing, which it's not. Jay's routine is a key on a string which you tie and you have it around your neck. Right, so it's on there, it's a necklace type thing. And you do a routine where the key comes off, and then you do the beautiful 2-way toss thing, and it goes back on, and you can hand it out for examination. This routine is not that. What this routine is it's got more in common with Greg Wilson's Ringleader, in that it is a multi-phase routine. It's not tied, it's a multi-phase routine with a key and with a string. But it's the finale that's a killer. So I'll even openly kind of go through with it. So there's the first 3 or 4 phases are with a key and a coin. A key and a string. So you put the key on the string and it comes off. You then put the key on the string again. It comes off. Then it goes back on. Then it comes off again. Then it goes back on. It's basically my ring and string routine, but with a key and a string. Because the key is slightly bigger, it's more visual. And also, it means I don't have to borrow a ring. Because the problem with borrowing a ring is you're always a little bit worried about it. Oh my God, what if the stone falls out or something like that? Well, here I can take a key off a keychain and I can just go into it. Now, the finale, the final phase, normally with a normal ring and string routine, is the ring vanishes and appears somewhere else, right? I love the ending to this so much. So you're using that key blank that I told you about. And in the final phase, you have them hold on to, you get into a situation where they've threaded the key onto the string. They're holding onto the key and you're holding onto the string. And you say, you're going to pull it off yourself. On the count of 3, I want you to pull up. So you go 1, 2, 3, they pull up, it comes off, and you immediately give them the string. And it's a really cool moment. And then you say, of course, I don't even understand how we could do this trick. It never even went on the string in the first place. Have a look. And you haven't taken the key off them, and now they look at the key, and now it's got no hole in it. It's kind of like a Sixth Sense moment. You remember when you first saw Sixth Sense and you pulled the rug got pulled out of you and you realised that the guy's, Bruce Willis has been dead from the very beginning, right? Well, it's that same sort of thing. They start questioning reality. How did that key come off that string and go onto that string when there's not even a hole in it and everything's examinable? That's mad. That's mental. So it couldn't be further. It's another example of certain magicians, making an assumption without even seeing the product. It's nothing like Leaving Home. It's more akin to Greg Wilson's Ringleader with a final phase that I just think is absolutely cool. And so there's a whole bunch of routines. And what I talk about how to actually routine these into an act. So you can literally go to a gig with just some keys in your pocket and you are good to go. And that's what I love about this. Now, you can do them all individually, but you can do them all as you know, you can do them all as an act. And I talk about how to actually routine them together and using your own choices. So I say, right, okay, you could start off with the original Keymaster routine. After that, you could do Gatekeeper, but do the business card thing as well. So what you do is you have, after the original Keymaster, you take out a business card, you hole punch it, you have them sign it, they hold it in between their hand. You then do Gatekeeper and you move the hole down to the stem, you then take it off and you throw it back onto the key, but then you move it down to the stem again. You then show them, you'd have them open up their hand and they match. And now the key's got a hole in the stem and so has the business card. You then give them the business card to hold on to and you take that hole and you throw it back on the head. And then you say, well, I tell you what, as we've got this key, let me show you something else. I've got this string in my pocket. Let me take the string, examine the string. Now you do the ring and string routine. And the ring and string, boom, and at the end, they're left holding a key blank and the string and everything's examinable. And you say, well, let me try one more thing. We're going to use a coin for this. Let me take the coin out. Okay, look, examine the coin. Now I've got this key, there's no hole in it. But look, if I take that hole and do that, now there's a hole in it. Examine that. Now I'm going to make these two things change places. And you do the transposition thing over and over again. And then finale, the hole jumps onto the coin. They've got no hole in the key. Everything's examinable. And maybe for a kicker finish, you go to put the key back on the key fob and you realize that there's no hole. So you visibly take the hole off the coin, you put it back onto the key, you put the key on the key fob, and you're instantly reset. But there's more routines than that. That's just an example of creating an act using the specific examples of tricks on the project that I told you about. But there's lots more with playing cards, with bills, with other routines with business cards. There's a ton of stuff with business cards. So the whole point is, and this is the real gold in the project, in my opinion, that you can take all of this stuff and put it together into an act. Now, I'm going to do a performance for you, but rather than doing a studio performance, I asked Penguin's permission, and they very kindly said, yes, I can use some of the performance footage from the actual project. So you're not normally seeing this unless you actually buy the project, Keymaster, but I'm going to play it now. So here's some live performance footage of Keymaster being done in a real world environment.
I'll show you a couple of things here. And it starts off with this. It starts off with two keys. It's called the two-key trick. Do you know why it's called the two-key trick?
Two keys.
Have you seen it before? That's very impressive. Good job. It does indeed use two keys. Now, here's what I need you to do. You're going to help me with it. You're both going to help me. But hold your hand out for me. I'm going to give you one of these keys. Your job is to squeeze it until later on, okay? So squeeze it tightly, turn your hand over, and keep your hand up here. I love how your knuckles are turning white, like you don't trust me at all. That's good. That's fine. That's fine. And I'm going to give you this key. Your job is to check that key out and make sure it's okay. Make sure there's no wires, no magnets, no trapdoors. Take your time. I get paid by the hour. Is that okay?
Looks good to me.
Good stuff. So would you like to see a good trick or a miracle?
I'll go miracle. Why not?
Okay, miracle. Why not? Watch the key. Watch the hole in the key. See, if I do this, I can take that hole and pull it right off the key. I love the look on your face. You look like a rabbit caught in headlights. Now, here's the weird thing. I'm going to put the hole right there. And this is weird. If I just tap, that hole has to go somewhere. And this is the weirdest thing you've ever seen. Turn your hand over, open it up. You ever seen two holes on a key before? So weird, right? So weird. So weird. But I'm going to try and get the hole back on this key.
All right.
That's what I'm going to do. Hold your hand out for me. Now, there's no hole there. It's not an optical illusion, right? No. Squeeze it tightly. Turn your hand over. Now, you can see there's two holes there. Is that right? Can you do me a favor? Can you hold on to the shaft? That sounds terrible. Can you hold on to that bit? That's much better. That's much better. Well, if I do this, I can take the hole back off the key. Now, if I told you I could put the hole back on the key in your hand, would that be good?
That'd be fantastic.
That'd be amazing, right? But I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to put the hole back on the key in your hand. I'm going to put it in a position that no hole has ever been before. Watch. Have you ever seen a hole in the stem of a key?
That's fantastic.
I always think I'm gonna see something. I'm gonna catch something. No.
I don't know you very well, but I'm guessing that's your pissed off face. I mean, I'm just
More or less just intrigued and infuriated all at the same time.
Let's go with that, shall we? Let's go with that. Should we go one step further? Let's get rid of this key because this is now basically. So we'll put it away, and I'll show you something with this key and this piece of string. The exciting thing is you're going to do this trick yourself.
All right.
Examine the string, make sure it's okay. Make sure it doesn't come apart. Is it all right? And you've already checked the key out. You can look at it again if you want to. It's all good. So, I'm going to show you the trick, but in a minute you're going to do it yourself. The idea is really simple. The key goes on the string. It's got to go about the middle. Is that roughly the middle?
Probably, yeah.
Watch this. If I do this and take the key and pull up, it goes right through the middle of the string, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Now, when I do this, people turn around to me and they say, Craig, because that's my name. They say, Craig, I think I know what's happening here. What's happening is you're not really putting it on the string. It looks like it's going on there, but really it's not. You can tell everyone that's really on there, isn't it? I mean, that's really...
Yeah.
You don't trust me. Give it a pull. Make sure it's right. It is really on there, right?
That's actually, yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Watch the key. Oh, no, you don't trust me either. This is how it works. It's all to do with hypnotism. You will give me all your money. Worth a try, maybe not, right? Watch the key. So the idea is really simple. You've got to pull vertical, not horizontal. You go straight up. Watch this. You pull straight up like this.
Okay.
It comes off. You tap the key to the string. Watch this. It goes right back on. What's exciting is in a second you're going to do this yourself, right? First of all, give it a pull, make sure people have realised it's on there. If you do not pull it up, what's your name again, sorry?
Katie.
I'm sorry, Katie, okay. If you don't pull it and people don't realise it's on there, there's no trick. Now you go vertical like this, never go horizontal, you go straight up. You go straight up, it comes off. You blow, it goes back on. Following?
Not even a little.
No. So this is the exciting part. Now you can do it yourself. Are you ready?
Yes.
Give it a pull. You got to promise me something here. If he gets this right, you're going to give him a big round of applause, okay? Because this is your first trick, okay? Are you ready?
Yeah.
You're going to hold on to the end, and when I say go, you're going to pull straight up. If it comes off the string, everyone's going to go crazy. You ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, straight up in the air. Look at that! You know what's really weird though, Katie?
What?
Not that you pulled it off the string, but how it even went on the string when there's no hole in the key to begin with.
That is fantastic.
Let me just get rid of that. Hang on a minute. You can keep that as a suit. Oh, you don't want it. That's fine. No problem. Now, this is called a two-key trick. Do you have any idea, sir, why it's called a two-key trick? It's because it uses two keys. It is not a trick question, I promise you. 2 keys. So the idea is really simple. Kelsey, I need you to hold your hand out for me. I'm going to take one of these keys. This is key number 1. I want you to squeeze this, and we're going to get back to it a little bit later on. Turn your hand over. You do that like a pro. That's fantastic. Now, you keep your hand up there. And sir, can you have a look at this key? Check it out. Make sure it's okay. Make sure there's no wires, magnets, trapdoors, secret compartments. Make sure it is what it appears to be. Is that okay?
Nothing suspect about it.
I don't want you to hold on to that key because I'm not that good. I'm going to get better though. Watch the key. Watch the hole in the key. You see, if I take the hole on the key and do this, this is going to freak you out. 1, 2, 3. I can pull the hole off the key. Kelsey, I've just put the hole off the key, right? Now watch this. I'm going to put it right there. Now this is the moment. If I do that, did you feel that, Kelsey?
Yes.
This is the weirdest thing ever. I put the hole on the key in your hand. Turn your hand over. Have a look. You ever seen a key with 2 holes on the stem? 2 holes right there. That's weird, right? Now we're gonna... I know, but we're going to go one step further. I'm going to get the hole back on this key. There is no hole there, is there? To be clear, no hole.
No.
You take this key, squeeze it tightly, turn your hand over. Do you see the 2 holes? Do you see the 2 holes? Thank you for helping, I appreciate that. Do me a favor, sir, hold on to the stem right there. Watch this. 1, 2, 3. I can take the hole back off that key. Now, Kelsey, let me ask you a question. If I told you I could put that back on the key in your hand, would that be good?
That's crazy.
But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go further. I'm going to put the hole on that key in a place that no hole has ever been before. Watch this. 1, 2, 3. Turn your hand over. You ever seen a key with a...
What the f***?
No!
Wow, that's insane, dude. Look.
Don't leave me hanging, Kelsey. Don't leave me hanging. That's it.
Oh my gosh. What did you do?
I know. Keep your... The thing that's making this is your excitement and enthusiasm. I want to thank you for that, sir. I appreciate it.
So there you go, guys. That's everything that you need to know about Keymaster, but you were too afraid to ask. I mean, obviously, I'm here to answer any questions. So if you've got any questions, please let me know by putting them down below, or maybe put them into the Q&A, and I'll answer them on next week's Q&A. Up to you, whatever way you want to do it. I'm going to give this 100%. It's been in my working repertoire for 15 years. It's something that's always killed. It's one of those 1,000 timers for me. I use it regularly as an opener because it's perfect as an opener. It's quick, it's visual, it's an everyday carry. It's great. I've got like 3 sets of these and I'm never going anywhere without it. I love Keymaster, and for the first time ever, I can say that the project that is being presented to you by Penguin, who by the way are amazing to work with, this is the project I always envisaged Keymaster to be, and after 15 years of work on the concept, I finally got it to where I'm really super happy with it. So yeah, I'm giving it 100%. It kills. Guys, thanks very much for watching once again. I really appreciate it. Do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. You want to see more videos like this? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll be back again tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Will I be back tomorrow? Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock with 5x5, 2 o'clock with the shorts, and I'm going to be back with 6 o'clock with Magic Live. I'll see you again. If you haven't already done so, the link is going to be in the description where you can buy Keymaster from, get it from Penguin Magic. Also, don't forget that if you want to join the NETRIX, you can do so by going to www.thenetrix.com, and you can sign up and see what the fuss is about. Guys, I'll see you again soon. Thanks very much for watching. My name's Craig from Magic TV.